Welcome to the No Dunks podcast presented by Ledger. It's Thursday, February 19th, 2026. I'm J.E. Skeets here at the Casa de Spurs in Austin, Texas. And alongside me, as always, Tass Mellis.
What's going on, Austin?
Yeah, let's hear it, Austin. Next to him, it's my Top Shot birthday boy, Trey Kirby. Hey-yo. And they say things are bigger in Texas, which is why we brought two super producers today. Give it up for JD and our guy Esh helping out over there.
Yeah.
So, Spurs Week here in Austin, Texas. A week-long celebration leading up to two Spurs games. Here tonight against the Suns, then on Saturday against the Kings, the lowly Kings. Show of applause here, or sound of applause. Who's going to one of these games here in Austin? Okay.
A lot of Kings fans. A lot of Kings fans in the audience.
So Casa de Spurs, that's where we're at right now. And this is the spot where it's been going down sort of all week long. Presented by Ledger. Shout out to Ledger for bringing the boys here. We swung by here last night to see Keldon Johnson in a little fireside chat. That was cool. And then the Coyote showed up. And we had a big debate about, do his eyes come off? Do they come off? We've seen them come off before, but that Coyote last night, we weren't 100% sure because we never saw them come off.
We weren't 100% sure. Everybody wanted to test them. Everybody wanted to step to the Coyote and say, those eyes come off. But we were all too scared to do it. Because what if they do? Then what? Then what do you do?
I know.
I think yes. Classic clip.
They looked secure. I don't think they were coming out.
See, that's sort of what my working theory was.
Tonight we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll test them tonight. We're going down to the game tonight to play see the Spurs.
Rip off his eyes.
So on today's podcast here, we are going to be joined by Spurs play-by-play announcer Jacob Tobey. He's going to join us up here. So we'll do a little Spurs talk. So don't you worry.
And you're wearing a Spurs jersey.
I mean,
Skeets.
yeah, I am pandering to the crowd. No doubt. Well, it's a beautiful jersey. First off,
it is. I'm glad I didn't wear my shooting warm-up. I've got the teal Spurs one. Then we'd be really pandering to the crowd.
Speaking of
but
merch,
I've got it here.
We did get for the birthday boy a jacket. You want to show this to everybody here?
Yeah, you guys vamp while I open.
Okay, so again, Ledger helping us out with these and hooking us up. So unfortunately, we didn't buy this for you, Trey, but it does look pretty sweet.
I think this is a trade type of jacket.
Ooh. Oh, the back is very nice. Oh my goodness.
Great pop. Yeah. Ledger basketball division on the back.
You'll be seeing this quite a bit.
Okay, good. So here's what we're doing here to start this podcast. The season is 67% complete. Home stretch starts tonight because basketball is finally back in our lives. So lots to be determined here still. But to set the scene, what we're going to do is we're going to draft NBA's most interesting teams for this final part of the regular season. So you can interpret that any way you want.
Okay.
What's interesting to you about said teams? It's your birthday, so it's only right you get to draft first. We'll do a couple rounds. TK, get us started. Oh, the pick is in.
Wow, I can't believe it. We brought our sound effects with us. Literally shocking. This is all I wanted when I turned 42. I got to go first in the draft of most interesting teams.
Right.
I got to talk about Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics. That's my pick.
Oh, okay.
They're getting back one of the best players in the NBA. Maybe in the next couple of weeks. We've heard some theorizing that NBC is flexing their game time because Tatum will be returning soon. They want him to get a big spotlight. We saw during the All-Star game, they gave him that little package about his return that they do with, major players who are coming back from injury. This guy's awesome. He's going to be joining a Boston Celtics team that's at the top of the Eastern Conference, right there behind the Detroit Pistons. But he's joining a team where Jaylen Brown is the stud now. Career high usage for Jaylen Brown. These guys have played together for the majority of their careers, all but one season. It'll be weird to see how Tatum fits in with Jaylen Brown now that Jaylen's the number one guy, because even if we're getting 80% of Jason Tatum, he's knocking down threes, he's rebounding, he's playing defense. They're going to be fun to watch, and I think it's going to be interesting to see when he comes back and exactly how he comes back. So sorry to the Spurs fans, but I'm going with the Celtics.
Whoa.
Yeah, sorry.
There will be Spurs talk eventually, but it is interesting to start with Tatum joining a team presumably joining a team. It's like we know, but we don't. But
he's
they're
coming.
setting up.
He's
Yeah,
coming.
they are. It feels like they're setting
Everybody
it up.
else is being shut down for the rest of the
Right.
season. Kyrie, Sabonis, Levine.
They
go
absolutely
on and
need
on
him.
and on. Tatum's coming back.
They absolutely need him at the end of games when they're not good in clutch games. You know, those games that are within 5 points the last 5 minutes. They're 12 and 14 in those games, but they're awesome in games when they give it to the opponent when their threes are falling down. They're 23 and 5 in non-clutch games. And you can see how it's affecting Derek White, Payne Pritchard. Their numbers have dropped. Their field goal percentage has dropped pretty dramatically. Our man Schumann with this stat, Derek White 58 from last year down to 48.3% this year. Pritchard 62 last year down to 55.4. Their effective field goal percentage has dropped because Tatum's not around. But I think, yeah, will he be able to be the 1A type of guy because Jaylen Brown has been carrying it? It's a fair question, but in the East, they just need that one little piece to get him into those clutch situations. So if he's back playing, they could win the thing.
Do you think the
In the
Celtics
East.
can win win the East, win the
Yeah.
title, two different things, but
Yeah.
can they win it all with Tatum at, let's call it 80%? Because we are expecting him to come back, but we don't know what level he's really going to be at. We can't expect him to be 100%.
I think they could win the East for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Detroit never won a playoff series. You know, the Celtics came up a little short last year, but they can beat the Knicks, I do believe. They've got institutional knowledge with Tatum and Brown and White and Pritchard. They lost a lot over the offseason, but they still have a lot.
All right, Tass, you got the next pick here. Most interesting team.
The Oklahoma City Thunder. Maybe I'm pandering to the Spurs fans a little bit, but there's questions around the Thunder. Jay Gilgeous-Alexander has an abdominal strain. The man is the wiggle man. He needs that core strength to go left, go right, lean back, draw a foul. He really needs it. Maybe he'll be fine because the word is that he is entirely fine, but they have other issues. Jalen Williams has not been himself this season. They need him to be their second best ball handler like he was last year when they won it. He's played 26 games this season. He has a hamstring injury that he's coming back from. So they just haven't been right. They've only played their starting five, only 5 games together. So that's a fair amount of questions. Feels like it is a bit like last year's Celtics to me, who after the championship didn't have a great year. We're kind of up and down. They finished 61-21 because they're awesome. But then they get into the playoffs, into the second round against the Knicks when many people picked them, including me. But they lost the first 2 games of that series. And they're down 2-1 when Jason Tatum went down, 3 minutes left. Game 4, they're down 9. They were going to be down whether Jason Tatum got injured or not. They're going down 3-1, and then they lost. So are the Thunder last year's Celtics? It's possible. I think they do need some magic. They just need things to work together because they have dropped several games to these Spurs,
Can't beat the
to many other
Spurs.
teams. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll see if they match up. I mean, that's what we were hoping for. They've already played like a playoff series.
That's right.
This regular
Yeah,
season,
5
played
times.
5 games with the Spurs taking 4 of them. Any thoughts on the Thunder before we keep it moving?
Yeah, I had a dream last night that I met Jalen Williams on the streets, and he knew my pickup basketball clip.
Well,
So-
okay.
Is that because we saw Mark Williams walking around last
Yeah,
night in
my
Austin?
Williams got crossed in my brain.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I mean, the Thunder got questions. If Jalen Williams, if he's too busy watching my Instagram highlights, then they're not going to be able to do it this year.
Right.
These guys need to get off their phones and get on the basketball court, like I'm always saying.
And we're like creeping up here on what? Almost a decade, getting close to where we haven't had a repeat championship winner.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's been a long time here with a new winner every year.
Yeah.
So they're trying to do that as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have the 3rd pick overall. I can't believe they've slipped this far in the draft here. I'll take the Spurs. I'll take the San Antonio Spurs. So heading into tonight's game, they have the longest win streak in the NBA. It is at 6 games, and they're just 2 games in the loss column behind the Oklahoma City Thunder. They hold the head-to-head tiebreaker, as we talked about, took 4 of 5. So there's that part. Keep your eye on that. But most importantly, the Spurs look like they passed the title contender checklist, right? There's like 3 things that a lot of people look at, like, have you done this? Check. That helps your chances to maybe go all the way and win it all. Let me go through them. First one, we've talked about it before, the Phil Jackson 40-20 rule. You need to win 40 games before you lose 20 games. And I think it was Matt Moore at Hardwood Paroxysm said 91% of NBA champions since the introduction of the 3-point line have won 40 games before. So it's a huge, high percentage. Like, you got to hit that mark. The Spurs are 38-16 So they got to go 2 and 3 here in their next 5.
So they're doing it this weekend in
They might
Austin.
do it in Austin. They very well could beat the Suns tonight.
They got to
and
win
then-
tonight, basically. Because
Yeah.
I think I would take the Spurs on Saturday.
Yeah, against the Kings, probably so. So there's that. Then there's the SRS 4+ rule. A little nerdy,
What
but hear
is
me
that?
out.
Yeah, people are always talking SRS.
Yeah, here, I'll explain it.
Yeah.
So it's by way of basketball reference. Everybody knows basketball reference. Simply point differential versus strength of schedule, aka how tough were your opponents and how much did you beat them? So we're just like getting to elite teams here. And again, it's like 91% of champions had a 4+ SRS. Spurs are well over it. They're at 6+ something. Third in the league. Check. Final one, got to be a top 3 team when it comes to seeding. It's like there's been 2 teams in like a very long time, maybe ever, the Celtics in the 60s and then the 95 Rockets, that were not a top seed in either conference. And the Spurs, of course, right now second, maybe catch the Thunder for first. So check. They're young, they're inexperienced, but they do hit all these sort of benchmarks here. So feel like their chances to go all the way.
Yeah, they hit my number 1 check mark. Do they have Wemby? Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They got a chance in any game,
Yeah.
any series.
I want to see him tonight. I haven't seen him since his rookie year. It's been so long, it feels like. So I'm looking forward to tonight and seeing their best player, obviously.
12-1 odds on FanDuel for the Spurs to win it all. Thunder, probably an Eastern Conference team.
Pistons?
No, Denver, excuse me. It goes Thunder, Denver, and then the Spurs. And then it's like a jumbled sort of mess there. A lot of
Wow.
conference teams. I know.
Interesting.
Don't
Ahead
give
of the Pistons.
Yeah. Yep. But like the Pistons, these really good teams in the regular season this year, you have to go through your lumps in a postseason run and lose a series in the first or second, conference finals, whatever, before all the way. We'll see, but they're very interesting nonetheless. We'll talk more Spurs with Jacob later
Indeed,
on.
we will.
Round 2.
You can get some good players in round 2.
Yep.
I heard there was a good one here in San Antonio once upon a time. 2nd round draft pick. DeJuan Blair, was that his name? No.
Number
For me, it's the
45.
Cavaliers. Biggest trade deadline change, bringing in James Harden. It's worked perfectly because it's not so much of a change. You know, they swapped in a guard for a guard in Garland going out, Harden coming in and actually playing really well. But they got another huge change coming. Evan Mobley will be coming back maybe tonight. In fact, he's been out for a little bit here, and that's going to be a bigger change for the Cavaliers, I think, than James Harden was, because right now they're playing 4 shooters and Jared Allen as a rim runner. He's killing. He never misses shots now because Harden's setting him up. There's so much space for him to operate. Somebody's going to have to go out of the starting lineup, though. Either Jalen Tyson or Sam Merrill. Both those guys shoot 47% from 3. Mobley ain't a shooter like that. He does his damage inside, though he can shoot from outside a little bit. 30% this year, but 37% the last couple of years. So they're going to be playing 2 more traditional bigs in Allen and Mobley, losing a shooter. How does that look together? Because I think the Mobley-Allen pairing, great defensively, sometimes clunky on offense, but Harden makes everybody fit together, whichever team he's on. So they're going to have to figure out a way, stagger Mitchell and Harden, also Mobley and Allen. They basically got 2 all-star duos going together, which is something they've had for the past couple of seasons, but it's going to be a little wonky, I think, when Mobley comes back.
Yeah, that is the big question. He's not on the injury report, so he should be back tonight. They've got some tough games coming up, so we're going to see how Cleveland fares against OKC this Sunday. Then they got the Pistons. Excuse me, they got the Knicks and the Pistons in their next 8 games. So that's some good teams. Sunday is basketball day on TV. It's now ABC
Get outta here,
doubleheader
football.
on afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, football, you're gone. They've got a 1 o'clock OKC versus those Cavs on Sunday. Then a Nuggets Warriors. It's basketball time, man.
Basketball
See you later, football.
It is basketball time.
Yeah,
We're in
yeah.
the home stretch here. Do you believe, though, in the Cavs and James Harden in a playoff series? In games 1 and 2, you do, but games 5, 6, 7?
When has Harden ever let down the Cavs? It
Okay,
hasn't happened yet.
that's true. That's a good point. All right, Tass, who do you have for your next pick?
I'll stay in the East. Those Pistons, I think chemistry is right. All those things are coming together for this team to potentially make the finals. You look at all the teams that are rumored or can be, you can talk yourself into the Knicks, the Celtics, or the Cavs potentially to make the finals. The Pistons have played them very well. They just beat the Knicks by 38, literally before the All-Star game. They also beat the Knicks by 31 earlier this season. and they get them tonight for their third game. They're 3-1 versus Boston this season. They're only 1-1 versus the Cavs. They play them twice in their next 7 games. Isaiah Stewart won't be there for one of them because he likes to fight a little bit, so he's suspended. But they're just good against good teams. They're 17-6 in games played between the 16 teams that are currently over 500. They show up every day. And I know they've only been to one playoff series, but it feels like they will be ready for every playoff series because JB Bickerstaff will have them ready for every series because they get after it defensively. They force the most turnovers in the NBA, more than OKC. Surprised by that, but when you watch them, you see that's who they are. So it just feels like everything's going together. Unless Jason Tatum comes back, then Boston could be that team. Unless things work out for the Knicks. But if I'm picking between those 4 teams right now, I think I'm taking the Pistons to make the NBA Finals. If I'm picking between the Cavs, Celtics, Pistons, or the Knicks, I'm taking them.
Again, broken record, but it's just like so rare for a team to like run the gauntlet, really, from not winning a postseason matchup to all the way to the finals.
Yeah.
But they are elite. They hang their hat on defense, so that's good. Obviously in the playoffs, I am a little concerned like when things bog down. Like Cade does so much as a creator, and it's like who's that second guy to initiate the offense when teams inevitably are just going to load up on Cade and make anybody else try and beat them. So something to watch. That is interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, they got Game 7 Kevin Huerter in town now, so things have changed. And also, they've been forged in the fires. JB Bickerstaff took Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren and led them to an all-star game championship, going through the entire world and the other half of the United States to win the biggest championship we've seen in any sports in 2026 February.
Specifically this month.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, bigger than any gold medal out there.
Super Bowl.
Bigger than the Super Bowl. Winning the 4th quarter of the All-Star game against 7 other guys from the same country. That was it.
Dominant victory.
Dominant victory.
Yeah.
Wasn't even close in the end.
All right, my second pick, 6th overall. I'll go with the Houston Rockets. Let's talk about Burnergate, baby.
That's the number one question by people that I've talked to today.
Before the show,
are we talking about Kevin Durant and him calling Russell Westbrook cocaine bear?
I mean, whoever wrote that, that's funny.
Yes.
Whether it was Durant or somebody else. But a few questions before the Kevin Durant of it. One, with the Rockets, can this weird ass offense work? Because they just grab a million offensive rebounds, like elite numbers that they're putting them up. But no Steven Adams now, so that maybe hurts that a little bit. They're also a really good 3-point shooting team, but they don't shoot a lot of threes, and they always get outshot by 3. So they're losing the math equation there, even though, again, they shoot like solid percentage. That's strange. Is Fred VanVleet coming back?
Huge
They
question.
didn't do anything of note at the trade deadline. What does that mean for him? Is he not? Is he? And then, are the Rockets ready for this adversity that is maybe real or maybe not with the Kevin Durant? Especially, like, there's him calling out Westbrook and former Suns teammates. That's one thing. Again, him, allegedly.
That's him.
He doesn't want to talk about.
Sure feels like.
But
That's
the
him for
part
sure.
of talking about Alperen Şengün and Jabari Smith Jr., like, whoa.
Yeah, but did you see Jabari and Alperen Şengün use the same songs on their Instagram posts? Come on, the same lyrics. Read the lyrics. I don't know what they were, but they were the same song.
Young
They gotta
Thug, I
be. They
think.
gotta be united together. The Rockets aren't going to win. Their offense isn't good enough. They've been mid for basically 2 months straight.
Yes.
And now they don't have Steven Adams. He's a key for them. Setting screens, grabbing boards. He's a better player than Capella, and he unites the forces. I do believe.
Yeah, I do think Durant needs Freddie beside him. He needs that point guard beside him. Now, he didn't talk trash about Reed Shepherd, so maybe that's a good sign. But no, really, they do need Fred back, and they need Fred back soon if he's going to be that guy in the playoffs, because he can't just turn it on March 15th.
Right. On Wednesday, by the way, if you're keeping track of this, Durant brushed off accusations on social media that he was behind burner accounts that were critical of teammates and coaches, past and present. He said, "I'm not here to get into Twitter nonsense." Bullshit. That's all you've been usually doing.
I'm on Twitter to get into Twitter nonsense.
Yes.
And I'm not one to get into Instagram stories, but now I need to know. Şengün and Jabari Smith, what song and what was their post that they even put up?
It was like each of them celebrating with Kevin Durant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Putting
I'm
to
swayed.
bed all
I'm
of the
swayed. Maybe the
speculation.
Rockets are good.
What do you think legit has happened with this? Do you believe it was him, and
Yeah.
then maybe some has been fabricated online? Or
I think it's 80% real.
Oh.
20% not.
Yeah, I think once we saw all the real ones come out first, and then people are like, this is a perfect opportunity for some Photoshop jokes.
Right.
And then they would add to it, and then it really muddies the waters on everything. But I mean, we've seen Kevin Durant use burners to talk about ex-teammates before. So why would he have ever stopped?
Oh, I buy it. I'm definitely buying it. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it feels like it. Again, if somebody
He hasn't denied it, really. This is the
Denied
strange
it.
part. And then he went very quiet. Everybody saw him on his phone non-stop All-Star Weekend. Very strange. For the Rockets, here's one thing to watch, though. This is from Shu, too. Easiest post-break schedule among the top 8. So the schedule isn't as rough as some of the others. So we'll see if the Kevin Durant tweets and group chat being leaked bonds them together.
That's right.
Them against the world is what they can do.
I was just saying that, guys. That's not really how I feel.
Well, that's funny about it. He might I've said that to your face. You know what I mean?
That's also true. Yeah.
But very strange. Very strange. All right. Final round here. Trey, where are you going?
Denver Nuggets haven't looked great since Nikola Jokic came back. 3-4, 25th in defense with Jokic on the court for their past 7 games. They're only 24th on the season. A large part of that, I think, they are missing their 2 best defenders in Aaron Gordon and Peyton Watson. That's not good news to me because they're both out with hamstring injuries, which are like athleticism-based injuries, which is important for both of those guys to perform. So for me, it's can they get healthy? Can they stay healthy for the rest of the year? Because that's been a problem for Gordon this year, in and out of the lineup. And then can they get their defense to resemble 2023 in any sort of way? When they won the championship, they were 15th in the league in defense. It doesn't seem to me that they could get their ranking up that high, but if they can be middle of the pack, they can win because they've got enough talent on the offensive end. But it kind of feels like a stop and start season for Denver. And I just wonder if trying to integrate a new bench, Cam Johnson kind of has fallen by the wayside completely as a guy that's been in and out of the lineup as well, hasn't fit perfectly. They just haven't been super impressive, I don't think, but we think they can probably elevate their game. I would probably take San Antonio ahead of Denver at this point in this.
Yeah, they do have to get into their groove. They do have the best offense in the NBA because they do click.
Yep.
When they're out there. They've got 7 guys shooting over 40% from 3, which is very impressive considering they literally have been up and down and a lot of guys have been injured, but they do have a tough schedule. You mentioned the Rockets there. The Nuggets have the toughest schedule in the NBA the rest of the season. When you add together win percentages from their opponents, 11 of their next 12 games will come against teams above 500. So the thing is, the Nuggets are such a good road team. Does it really matter if they drop to 4th or 5th in the Western Conference standings? The fewer the series on the road, the better. But this team has to just find their groove before they get there.
Yeah. I mean, like Wemby with the Spurs, they have Jokic, and it's like they're going to like their chances playoff series, especially when you can run the Jokic, Jamal Murray, unstoppable pick and roll. Like nobody has an answer for that.
Yeah.
I saw them lose a game 7 at home once.
Well, they have
Blew a 20-point lead.
They have done that.
Mm-hmm.
What's your final team?
Let's go over to the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that everyone questions. There's no doubt because last year they finished 17-4 their last 21 games before they got to the conference final. So their regular season finish was fantastic, and it feels like they kind of have to do that again because this team goes through big sways. They did that earlier this season. They started the season 14-1 against sub 500 teams. Since they've been 8-8. Can they elevate themselves to another level? We know Anthony Edwards is going to be good. And I'm not worried about Julius Randle or Rudy Gobert. They need some of those other guys. And specifically, it's Jaden McDaniels. One of the great things about Anthony Edwards is he always says what's on his mind. Like when he was asked after winning the All-Star MVP, he was asked, how are you going to get to winning a championship? He said, my favorite player, Jaden McDaniels. And he's right. It is Jaden McDaniels. Along with Ayo Dosunmu, who came over, I do think those 2 guys, combined with the other players that I just mentioned, could finish games. But they have elevated to a different level this year. They've both jumped up. They're both shooting 45% from 3. Those are big jumps for both of them. Jaden McDaniels, 33% last year to 45% this year. Ayo Dosunmu, 33% from last year to 44.7% this year. That's the biggest jump for 2 players in the NBA. If we take into account a little stat, you have to shoot 100 threes. But Schumann did that, and I do think that's totally true. It's those guys around Anthony Edwards if they're going to elevate. So I don't know. They're such an up and down team. Will we get that same vibe that we got at the end of last season when they got on a roll and then went to the conference finals? But Dosunmu and Jaden McDaniels are going to be important to that team.
For a team that's been in the Final Four of the NBA the last 2 seasons, they are sort of hilariously booked. I
Very
think part
much.
of it is the up and down nature, but talking all these other teams ahead of them, be it Spurs, Nuggets, obviously Thunder.
A lot more consistent teams. And that
Yeah.
to me is like McDaniels and Io shooting would be huge for this team, but it's all 100% on Anthony Edwards. He's been taken out of the Western Conference Finals the last 2 years. He's got to be their best player, and he's got to have good games every single night because he's going to see different defenses, and he does a good job of like passing the ball when he gets double teamed, but you got to go back and get it. You got to score 30 a game in the playoffs.
All right, my final pick, with love to the Knicks, who are a damn good team and could come out of the East, and with some love to the Hornets, who are a damn fun team. Though LaMelo, take a Waymo, man. Holy crap.
Waymo.
I'm going to pick, because it's interesting to me, the Lakers. Because are we watching LeBron's final season, either just with LA or in the NBA entirely? We've debated this a lot. He's sort of like being quite coy about his answer. He's definitely not coming out and saying this is it, but he's not saying I'll be back and all
I'm
that.
trying to live my life.
Yeah, that's
literally his quote.
But they're also they're a funny team. Like they're good record wise, but then you dig into the numbers and it's like, how are they good? Schumann said the Lakers are tied with the 53-54 Knicks for what would be the best record in NBA history for a team with a negative point differential. So it's like the good record, but they're not really good. They've been outscored by a single point over their entire season, which is really odd. But they have this incredible record in the clutch. They're 15-3 in clutch games, but they haven't played a whole bunch of them. They get blown out when they lose. So weird team. We're getting Austin Reeves back. The Lakers are, and that's some talented offensive players, no doubt. But can they get stops on the defensive end? The Lakers are always going to be fascinating, especially with the LeBron angle.
How'd that Knicks team end up doing?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There was only like 4 teams in the league then, so they probably finished top 4.
Bumpy Jones was going for 12 a game that year. He was really on fire. First guy to shoot a jump shot, they said. I mean, the Lakers aren't going to do it this year. It's just not going to happen, I don't think. But that's not the plan. The plan is to be good.
This isn't a Rich Paul podcast, man. Isn't that what Rich Paul said? The Lakers are not a championship team.
Yeah, he would know. And this also is not LeBron's last season. And next year he will be a Cleveland Cavalier. That would be my prediction. He's getting the fake going away tour this.
Okay.
It's brilliant. If you don't say you're leaving, everyone's like, well, is he leaving? So they treat it like a retirement tour.
Right.
And then next year you say, yeah, this is my last year to retirement tour.
And what? He's going to sign a vet's minimum just to play with Cleveland. And then I've seen reports like somebody's going to pay him 50 to 60 million to like follow him around and do the documentary on his final season. So that's how he'll make his money. If anybody would do it, maybe LeBron would do that. Yeah. You think he's going to play again next year? One more year. 24th NBA season.
I do think he wants everybody to say goodbye.
He wants the rocking chairs and the posters and portraits.
If he just slips out like Tim Duncan, I'm pandering. But if he does a Tim Duncan move, it doesn't feel like LeBron.
Right.
What would you get him for a retirement gift?
Great question. Like the thickest headband possible.
Oh, a trip to Turkey.
A trip to Turkey.
All expenses paid. Get the implants. All right, those are our 9 most interesting teams. Quick draft there. Going to take a quick break and then we'll bring up Jacob. When it comes to betting on your favorite NBA players, nobody does it like FanDuel. From points and rebounds to threes and assists, FanDuel is the best place to build your player prop story. Everybody's got a story. What's your prop story? Combine your favorite picks into a same-game parlay or track every stat live, all in one easy-to-use app. Whether you're backing a breakout performance or riding with your favorite star, FanDuel gives you more ways to play and more reasons to cheer. And right now is the perfect time to join because new customers get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So bet on the players you love the way you want. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Spurs play-by-play announcer Jacob Tobey. Let's hear it.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah,
appreciate
you
it.
swinging by. I know this came together all last minute.
But that's part of the business.
That is.
Roll
Just
with
got to be
it.
available, always ready to go. Have to be ready. Next man up. Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
I was texting one of my best friends from home, Mitch, and he was like, "You're gonna be on No Dunks," and I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'm more starstruck about this than seeing you on live TV." Because his whole life I've been trying to get on TV for sports, and he's been listening to you guys. So shout out Mitch.
Yeah, well, shout out Mitch.
Shout out,
Camera's right there.
There
What's
he
up,
is.
Mitch?
Hey,
What's up, Mitch?
So second year with the Spurs.
Yes.
Doing the play-by-play
Yes.
announcing. We'll get into Spurs talk itself,
Yeah.
but how is it going? What's your favorite part about the job? What's your least favorite part about the gig?
There's no least favorite
Oh,
parts.
come on. There's gotta
No,
be
no.
something.
I mean, everyone will say that travel is daunting. It's hard. Roll my eyes. I'm on a private plane with the guys and staying at amazing hotels, Four Seasons, Ritz-Carlton. So that stuff to me is not that hard. The best part about the job is that I get the best seat in the house, and I get to sit with, arguably one of the greatest Spurs of all time, and Sean Elliott, and get to talk about Spurs basketball and the NBA. And that's something that I've wanted to do since I was 12 years old. I come from Massachusetts, an hour south of Boston. I grew up watching the Celtics. I grew up idolizing their announcer, Mike Gorman, and I just wanted to be just like him. And so I've been so passionate about it, pretty much dedicated my whole life to it. I'm a young guy. I'm 28. I'm very lucky to be where I am because not a lot of young guys get to do this early for a living. And I'm just so grateful that I get to be here and watch Victor and Castle and Harper and all the young guns come up.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm growing with the team because I'm a young guy, they're a young guy, and we get to do it together. So it's really cool.
Yeah, you have impeccable timing. Joining the Spurs when you did here.
Yeah, I did it. I did it basically by plan. That was a
Smart.
plan. I waited. There was a couple rough years there. No, it just came up. Yeah.
Incredible. Have you had a coffee yet, or did you do smelling salts? To get fired up
Oh,
for the,
there's that. Yeah.
I had
So
to-
I don't drink coffee.
Oh, you just do smelling salts.
I just do smelling salts.
salts.
That smelling salts thing was so weird and funny because it was such a last minute thing. So the Spurs played a game in San Antonio on I think a Friday night. Had to fly to Orlando to play the next day,
Right.
Saturday. That's hard, and it was an early game in Orlando, a late game in San Antonio. You peg that as a loss for sure. And
Right.
Victor wasn't playing at the time, and one of my producers, Avery, 20 minutes before tip off was like, "Hey, I'm gonna bring some smelling salts out to the broadcast table. You should do them on the air to like say that. Oh, I need to wake up." So I was like, I've never done smelling salts before, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do it. If something crazy happens, I'm just gonna pretend to bring it up with Sean and then not do it. And then literally my producer's counting down on my head, 10, 9, 8, and I'm like, I'm doing it, baby. I'm doing it. F it. I'm doing it.
And you took a whiff.
And
of it.
they say 6 inches away from the nose. I was like,
Yeah.
almost knocked me off my seat. And then, 2 million views later on Instagram. My parents are sending me this, like, what are you doing on TV?
I like how
But hey.
Sean even seems shocked.
Oh,
there.
well,
What are you
Sean's
doing?
reaction was the
Yeah.
best. He's like, he's like my older brother, my uncle, like reacting like the little brother, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So it was awesome. It was good.
I
Good
feel-
TV, as they say.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like the roles flipped when you guys had ice cream this year. That was Sean eating the ice cream and you looking at him like, what are you doing, man?
So the eating segments have come to be very popular.
yes.
And we just started doing them like mid-season, and Sean loves food. So anytime Sean eats, he's happy. So once we started doing the segments, it's like the number one thing people stop me in the street is be like, I love that segment. I love you guys eating. So if it's ice cream or whatever it is, sign me up. It's awesome.
What's it been like being part of like the Victor Wembanyama experience? Like you said, you're a young guy as
Yeah.
well, and you're all sort of growing together as a team, but there is a massive like global superstar on the team. That's not always the case for young teams.
Yeah, no, I got really, really lucky that I get to align my career, hopefully for a long time with Victor. And everyone always asks me, what's it like to call his games? What's it like to be an NBA play-by-play announcer? And the thing I always say is that you have to be ready. Like I was joking around earlier, like this came up last minute. You always have to be ready because you never know what he's going to do on the court. So I have to always be aware of my surroundings, where he is on the floor at all times, what's he doing, because he could, no joke, one day take off from the free throw line or just inside the 3-point line and dunk it. And I have to have the most amazing call ever because that's going to live on forever. So there is some pressure there, but I love that pressure. I love being, now I'm not on the court playing, but I love sort of being involved with the game in a minuscule way. So to document his career, it's awesome. It kind of has the feeling of when LeBron first started. You know, I'm sure those announcers were like, this could be really, really special. Same thing with Jordan, same thing with Kobe. So to me, it's just such a privilege to be around and see the moments. And he's such a nice guy. Like he'll come up to me before the game and say hi to me and Sean and give us hugs and ask us how we're doing. And that's the best part, because he's a real human. He means well. He's well intended. If you listen to him in press conferences, he always stops for a moment and then thinks about what he's going to say and then actually says it, because he's seriously cares about every single thing that goes on with his career, with his teammates, and he's one of the most selfless guys in the league.
He's very thoughtful.
Yeah.
Has he ever recommended a book for you?
Not yet, but I'm trying, maybe I should recommend a book to him. I'm trying to get better reading. I've read a couple books this year. It's so busy for us during the season, so maybe I can get in the book club with him and Harrison Barnes.
Nice.
I think Bismack Biyombo might be in that book club too.
Oh, nice.
Well, we've got plane time, I guess, but are you prepping when you're on the plane, or are you reading?
Always. Kevin Harlan, who has been my mentor for a long time, him and Brian Anderson from TNT have been my two guys in this business that have watched me grow and given me advice. And Kevin Harlan was telling me when I was younger, always work on the plane, because what else are you going to do? You're going to watch a movie, you're going to listen to music. Yeah, I could do that, but always get my work done on the plane. So then you can enjoy what city you're in, get a feel for your surroundings, get to know the area, because I try to mention that stuff on the broadcast from time to time, give people a feel of what the city's like, what the vibe is like. So if I can get most of my work done on the plane, that's a good thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Obviously didn't have to fly here to
No.
Austin for this one.
No, I drove. So the team took a bus, but I had to drive because I'm also a musician and I have my music equipment with me, and I'm actually playing a music show on Friday here.
Where are you playing?
I'm playing at the Four Seasons, where the
Okay.
team is staying at the outdoor
nice.
bar from 5 to 7. So if y'all want to hear some acoustic music, I sing and play guitar. So
Hey.
y'all come check out for that.
A
Yeah.
little plug.
Awesome.
Yeah. But I had to drive all my equipment up here. I couldn't put it on the team bus. And we're not flying with the team out to Detroit after, because it's a national TV game. So we're going back home for
Hey,
Columbus.
Wemby, do you have a carry-on? No. Can you just take this guitar for
Yeah.
me?
Well, so I do bring my guitar on the road sometimes.
Oh,
just
Lil
for my
Newman.
personal enjoyment. And there was one time where a couple, not players, but a couple of staff members, I'll just say,
Yeah.
invited me up to their room, and we had a jam night, just playing music randomly. And the next day, Keldon Johnson came up to me, and I guess he maybe heard about it or saw a video, and he was like, "Can you teach me how to play guitar?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, anytime. Let's do it." That has not happened yet, but I'm trying to get him.
Okay.
Trying to get him there. So
how cool is this Spurs Week here in Austin? I
Yeah.
know it's a couple years running now. You were here last year, I assume, for the game.
it's awesome. I'm in the Casa. I'm in the Casa de
You're in the
Spurs.
Casa
de
right
Spurs,
now.
that's right.
baby.
Like that's pretty cool. It's awesome because it's such a short drive. It's
Yeah.
only an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes, and it's a totally different city. But the fan base is here. I was just talking to some people in the crowd. They're from here, and they love the Spurs, but they've born and raised here. And I think just growing the relationship in Austin, it's a growing city. It's a younger city. You know, the Spurs have fans of all different ages, all different countries as well, with Victor being from France, and European countries with, Manu and Patty and everybody else. But to grow it in another city that's only an hour away, that's, a big city as well, I think it's awesome. It's actually a no-brainer to me. So to come here twice a year to play games, when I first heard about it, I was like, that's really exciting. And the Moody Center is great. It's a relatively new arena. The fans were awesome last year. I was actually here 2 years ago as a shadow. I was shadowing the Spurs broadcast. So give you a little insight. I've known some of the Spurs people for a couple of years prior to me getting the job. So that sort of helped. And I was up here shadowing during Spurs Week, and I was like, this is awesome. So I've loved it. It's been a great thing.
Yeah, it makes sense too. A part of the rodeo road trip, which is obviously
Yes.
super long. You
Yeah, and
gotta
this
leave
year,
for a while.
actually, the rodeo road trip isn't as bad as it's been in the past this
Right.
year.
Yeah, that's
Went out
good.
to the West Conference for 2 games to play the Lakers and the Warriors, then had the All-Star break off. So you get to
Right.
go back home, or the guys go on vacation. And then, you're in Austin, which is kind of home.
Yeah.
And then you go to New York, Detroit, Toronto, New York, and you're back home pretty
Well,
much
that's
after
not too
Philly.
bad.
So it's
Yeah.
not that bad. It's West, home, East home. So
Nice.
it could be crazier. We've had crazier stretches. I mean, the team was on the road for almost 30 days straight during that NBA Cup run, sort of middle November to pretty much end of December.
Right. Wemby's obviously the international star. You got another all-star in De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Who on the Spurs team do you think is like an unheralded sort of player that maybe from the national media at least deserves more love?
Well, I mean, you mentioned De'Aaron, but I feel like people aren't talking about him enough. And Mitch Johnson, the Spurs head coach, was adamant about De'Aaron being an all-star, or at least this team having a second all-star.
Yeah.
I mean, they're second in the West, and there's only a couple teams that have 2 all-stars, and rightfully so, the Spurs should have been in there. So I think the league got that corrected. I mean, someone had sent me something online of one of the Lakers accounts saying, how could De'Aaron Fox be chosen as an all-star over Austin Reeves? And I was like, well, Austin Reeves was hurt for a while. Yeah, he has like better points per game and maybe a couple better points in terms of shooting percentages, but he's not on the second best team in the West.
Yeah.
He's changed his game. He is playing off ball more than he ever has in his career. He's given the keys to Stephon Castle as the primary decision maker for this team, and that's not easy for someone to do. He's 28. He's in the prime of his career. He
makes the most money on the team.
He makes the most money on the team. I mean, I give him so much credit because he didn't have to do that, and so he's shepherding in this young cast of characters. And so I think people should definitely talk about De'Aaron Fox more. And I think if the Spurs continue to win and be that second seed, they will.
I got to get in a Wemby question because you have to ask every Wemby question. And because you're saying it has sort of trickled down, like everybody is seeing their role in a different way. What has Victor Wembanyama done for each guy in terms of their ability to either grow emotionally on or off the court?
I think just every day act like I kind of said it earlier, but act like a normal guy.
Yeah.
And that gives everybody, there's no fear around. And I'm not calling guys out around the league, but I think different star players emote different things.
Wemby doesn't have a burner Twitter account, you don't think?
Not that I know of.
No,
Not that I know of.
Sorry.
And if there was one, I hope he wouldn't be tweeting about how bad the broadcast sounds. But
he doesn't hide it in his book.
no. That book is. But you mentioned the book. Always a book in his hand. I'm on the bus with these guys. I'm on the plane. Always has a book. Jokic obviously made fun of him last year at the All-Star game. Had a book this year at the All-Star game.
Oh, he did?
Yes, he did. He didn't show it off, but he had a book.
That's inside information.
Well, yeah, breaking news. But I think he's just allowed everybody to be themselves. And, we've seen from time to time him get upset with the physicality and sort of demand the basketball, but he is not always demanding the basketball. He's willing to feed his teammates, let other guys cook. And they're trying to find that perfect balance of when to let him go off, when to give the ball to, De'Aaron Fox or Castle, or spray it out to the shooters with Champagny and Devin Vassell. So I think he's just let everybody be themselves and be calm, and that's sort of bled in. And there's, he at the beginning of the year, he did mention that the playoffs were a goal, but there wasn't a pressure of we have to be top 3. It just happened to be that way. And what a ride, man. Like top 3, top 2. Awesome.
With a good resume against the number 1 team. That's got to be encouraging as well.
Yeah. 4 wins. 3 of them were really, really well earned. The 4th one, obviously the Thunder sat everybody. So still a win in the book. And if it comes down to seeding, that's, that could potentially hurt them as they're creeping up, 3.5, 4 games behind the number 1 seed.
You think we'll see some of the Jackals contingent here in Austin?
Can confirm the Jackals are here.
Wow.
Excellent.
Yeah, the Jackals are here. Honestly, how cool has that been to watch?
It's very cool.
It's just different. It's obviously very European with the way Victor has gone about it. The ultras with PSG, this insane fan base he wants to create. And I've met a ton of the Jackals, and they've been super nice to not only the staff, but us, Sean and I, the players. They are super into it. I can hear them through my headset, and that's not always the case, because the headset's so loud with the game sound and my producer, but I hear them. And so anytime I hear them, I'll mention, hey, man, John, the Jackals are going crazy right now. We'll show them on the broadcast all the time. So, yeah, shout out the Jackals. They're the best, and they even came to watch me play music a couple times. So they love their Spurs. Anyone
That's
associated
awesome.
with the Spurs.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Back to Wembanyama in the All-Star game, obviously setting the tone. People are, I think rightfully so, saying he maybe saved the All-Star game or he brought it back.
Yeah.
But as a Spurs fan, as someone that does the broadcast, are you also like freaking out watching the All-Star game? You're like, whoa, you're going very hard, Wemby. You're trying to block everything. Like, don't tweak an ankle or something like that.
I mean,
conflicted at all? No.
A little bit. I mean, no doubt. Any time that Victor falls on the floor at any point, I'm like a little bit like, all right,
yeah,
he's up, he's good. And I'll always mention that. But any player for sure on any team. I mean, the rash of injuries over the last couple of years has really been concerning, and it stinks as an announcer because you want the best guys on the floor. I want the Spurs to win every game, obviously, but I want a good game. As an announcer, we always want good games. Sean probably wants to win by 50 every game, which, yeah, that's rightfully so, and that makes sense. I want a really good game, an entertaining game, and so injuries are always a part of it. But yeah, I loved Victor setting the tone. It's part of his story, man. He cares so much, and I've tried to do a really good job of doing as much research on his background as I can. I mean, I've read a book about him that was translated from French to English. I've tried to talk to people around him. I want to understand everywhere that he goes and where he comes from and his background. So I still pinch myself every time he's on the floor. And when he's been hurt, it's definitely unfortunate. Last year, it's weird to be back here because I haven't been back in our team hotel since I found out Victor had a blood clot. And I was in the gym working out, and I called Sean immediately when I found out. And I was walking on the treadmill for 20 minutes, just like, is this really happening?
Right,
like,
talking it out. Yeah.
How is he going to be for the rest of his life?
Yeah,
Not even the basketball stuff. And it just put a damper on the season. With Coach Pop going down and then Victor going down, it just was a world when I saw every single thing I could see in the NBA in my rookie year. With Pop, with Wemby, with making a big trade with De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
The Spurs were caught in LA last year for 5 days because of the LA fires. We were stuck in a hotel and didn't know what was going on, had the game canceled. I saw a fan, unfortunately, have a heart attack right as the game was about to start. He was okay, thankfully, and then the rodeo road trip. So I've been through it all already. So Sean's always like, what else do you need to see, man? Seen it, everything.
You went to Paris even.
I did actually.
You
I
didn't
did not get to go to Paris. We had to broadcast remotely.
Oh.
Sean got to go.
Oh, okay.
Because he's Sean Elliott. But we stayed back and did our remote broadcast. It's kind of the trend of the league now is if teams are going abroad, they're having to stay back to do the broadcast.
Ooh,
hey, I'm just told where to show up and I'll call the game.
Stay ready.
Yeah, stay ready. Exactly.
What did you think of Carter Bryant's dunk performance?
Fantastic. I felt bad for him at the end because he really wanted it.
Yeah.
But we have been seeing this since day one. I know this kid can jump. I know this kid can fly. And he went to Arizona. Sean Elliott went to Arizona. There's love there. And so every time Carter gets to do something in the game, I can already feel Sean smiling. And I look over and he's like, yeah, Carter, like, let's go. So one of the most, and he had trouble earlier in the year finishing dunks. I mean, he was missing some dunks. His teammates gave him some crap for it. If he missed 3 more dunks for shaving your head type thing, like they told him that. Because Victor and Keldon obviously shaved their heads.
Jackal style.
Yeah, the Jackals shaved their heads. The ball boys shaved their heads. Yeah. I have a nice fade, so I'm trying to keep that. But maybe if they win the championship, I'll shave it.
Oh, there we go.
That's good.
On record.
I'll host the championship parade bald.
Wow.
Maybe.
Oh,
if we
maybe.
get enough votes.
Maybe. No, it can't be maybe. You got it.
Yeah.
I saw you tweet when we interviewed Dylan Harper at our internal content day. We knew he would be a media star, and you brought this up because he was doing a bunch of stuff at All-Star Weekend.
Yeah, he was the media. He was the correspondent, the player correspondent.
So you saw this instantly in talking to Dylan.
Oh yeah, I did. So to pull back the curtain before media day, which is in front of everybody, each NBA team holds a content day, internal content day. So all the stuff you see on the jumbotron before games, interviews on our broadcasts. That stuff is all pre-taped and done a couple days before media day. And so I got to sit down with each guy and go through a list of questions. And Dylan, he just sits down and I was so I had to interview Victor. And to make it look good on TV, I had to sit on a booster seat.
Right.
Now I'm 6 feet. I feel like I'm tall for the normal person.
Sure.
We actually have to do that for Skeets.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm 5'10" and a half. Thank you.
That's a shot right there.
I can only say because I'm way far over here. Yeah.
But I had to sit on a booster seat, and so I did that for Victor, and then Dylan was the next guy to come in, and he immediately sits down and starts roasting me for being on a booster seat. And I was like, "Yo, man, like, chill. Like, you just got here. Like, I'm trying to interview Victor, and so I'll take off the booster seat." And I could just tell he has a great personality,
Right.
and we were talking, and I was like, "So what's like? Are you good at other sports?" And he was like, "I'm good at every sport." And so like he's just entertaining. Like
Right.
I love that about him. And so yeah, when I saw him pop up on my social media feed of him with the mic interviewing guys, interviewing Steph Curry, him and Giannis going back and forth, no surprise. And he sat down with us after a couple games with Sean and I post game, and he's broken down film. I'm like, you could be a broadcaster someday,
Wow.
dude. So who knows? Maybe that's in the cards for him.
Yeah, maybe so. One of my favorite questions you asked in these 24 seconds with the Spurs is you're asking all the guys, do you say you all, y'all, or you guys? As a Northeasterner, what do you say?
Well, so I'm from, like I said, pretty much Boston, and they do not say y'all up there. So, but my first job in my career was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I got used to the Southern way of speaking. So
Smart.
I'm voting now. I say y'all a lot, and just it's easier, it makes sense. So I go back home and say y'all to my parents, and they're like, "Give me a look." But then when I go home and hear them say "wada," "pakika," I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
Is that really what I sounded like when I was younger? The answer is actually no. I don't know why I never really had a Boston accent. My parents do, grandparents, everybody, my friends, but I don't. So, but yeah, I'm going with y'all.
Yeah, we switched over to.
Yeah,
moving
we
to Atlanta.
adopted
Have to.
Yep.
Have to.
How do you feel about the Spurs' chances here, going all the way? Potentially you shaving your head at the parade. But talk it out. I mean, we like you heard the first part of the show here. Like, it's very rare for a team to get into the postseason and then run the gauntlet or go very, very far. You think they need to take their lumps? Will they? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been listening to a bunch of podcasts, and you guys again do a great job. And everyone was like, "Wow, why didn't they make a move at the deadline? They're at second seed. They have a chance." And I think Brian Wright, the general manager, Mitch Johnson, the whole staff, they just believe that this team can do it, and they want to see what their young squad can do. They have a great mix of veteran guys, young stars, great personalities, vets that have been around. Even some of the vets like Devin Vassell hasn't necessarily played in the playoffs or experienced that, but knows what to do to win an NBA game. And I think there is a good shot that this team finds magic, and with the right matchups. It's all about matchups. We've obviously seen the way they play against the Thunder is so interesting because they play the same way. They want to push the pace. They turn you over. The Spurs have been sort of teetering in that 13 to 15 range of pace, and Mitch wants them to play even faster. And they played faster at the start of the year, slowed down because they didn't have a lot of their guys in the lineup. And so when they play faster at their best, and that's why the Thunder are so good too. So when they match up, it's like two great forces going up against each other. So I would love that to be the Western Conference Finals. I think everyone wants that to be. They just need to consistently hit shots, and that's sort of been the downfall, is sometimes they don't hit their shots. But we've seen them win games where they haven't necessarily had the three ball well, and it's just because number one has gone berserk and scored 40 points, and no one can stop him. So when he plays that way, when he plays mad, and the Spurs make their shots, and Castle's being that distributor guy, I don't see a reason why. The West is obviously way tougher than the East, so everyone always, like this year with the NFC Championship game in NFL, everyone was like, "That's the Super Bowl," which I got slightly offended because I am a Patriots fan. You can boo me, by the way, if you hate the Patriots. Yep, there you go. But so it could be the same way as like this Western Conference Finals could be the NBA Finals. No slight to anyone in the East. I just think that the West is more talented. So if they get through the West, I'm picking the Spurs.
Spurs are 0-2 incredibly against the Suns here, who they play tonight.
Isn't that weird?
It is a little weird. I mean, the Suns are a good team.
Suns
I think
are gritty.
surprised
Suns
a
are
lot of
gritty. They're
people.
good.
You have like a key to a Spurs victory tonight, or something to watch as like they start back up here in the second half. Always maybe a weird game too after the All-Star break.
I think well, first thing, Dylan Brooks will not be in the lineup. He is suspended.
That's right. They finally got him.
They
rescinded like 3 of them. He's at 19 texts or something.
He is suspended, and he is one of those guys that guards Victor extremely well.
Yeah.
Just because of the physicality, the tenacity that he brings, and I respect him a lot because he's made himself a really good NBA player. So that helps that he's not in the lineup tonight. But I just think get Victor going early. We've seen it. 25 points in the first quarter or 27, whatever it was, against the Lakers. That was remarkable. And you could say, yeah, the Lakers didn't have their stars in the lineup or whatever, but to still do that is crazy. So just feed the big guy early. Sean always talks about it on the broadcast. Feed him early. Let everyone else eat after that. I think that's a key to this game, to every game, and limit the 3-point shooting. I think the Spurs had struggled earlier in the year with their 3-point defense. They'd given up some open 3-point looks, and guys like Devin Booker and Colin Gillespie got really hot in the first couple games. So just limit the threes, give the ball to the big man, win the game, move on to Saturday, win that game, and then win the rest of the games after the All-Star
There
break.
you go. Run the gauntlet.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Yeah.
Just win.
Yeah, tonight's line is the Spurs by 7.5, favored over the Phoenix Suns. They're the hottest team in the NBA, having won 6 games. No Dylan Brooks. They got avenged for those 2 losses. So that's why both Skeets and I have taken the Spurs to cover. We're not pandering. We're just taking the Spurs to cover that 8 points, while our man Trey riding with the Suns.
Well,
How dare you in the Casa de Spurs?
the only way for me to get a win tonight is if Wemby hits a buzzer beater. Spurs win, but they don't cover.
There you go.
That's still a win. I can pander just as hard.
I am with you on that because we're going to be at the game tonight.
Okay.
And it's like, yeah, we got the Spurs in our pick'em little battle, but like, I want a close game. That's
Oh,
like
yeah.
interesting to hear you
Yes.
say that as broadcaster too. It's like you want a close game.
Oh,
when you go
any
to see
NBA,
anybody.
any NFL, MLB, we all want close games,
Yeah.
man. Buzzer beaters are great.
Yeah.
So if it's a Wemby buzzer beater,
That'd be awesome.
sign me up.
Okay, but Tass and I have the Spurs by
Okay.
8 points or more. DK's got the dog Suns there.
Do you have like a call in your back pocket for a buzzer beater, or are there things you're saving for these huge moments?
I always get that question, and my response is no. And the reason why I say that is it needs to be organic. It needs to be in the moment. It needs to feel that emotion of
Sure.
whatever's going on. And so if I come in writing something down or have this single catchphrase, and it doesn't fit the moment, then that lives on forever. And I'm going to be like, that wasn't that good. Or, so, and there are guys around the NBA that have catchphrases and they're known for it. And that's awesome. That's just not the way that I've been brought up to do the game. And so I have multiple things that I've said from time to time. He's not human. He's an alien. I'll pull out some French every now and then. If he does something amazing, I'll say "c'est fou," which means that's amazing, Victor. But for a game winner like that, it's just whatever comes from my brain out the mouth. And that's just, I always tell people I've been wanting to do this since I was 12, and I would open up my Christmas present every Christmas day, and it was NBA 2K, and I would rush downstairs, turn on the Xbox, turn off the announcer sound, and spend 6 hours on Christmas Day calling the game to myself and pretending to be that guy. So every time I sit in that chair, I tell people that I want to be that 12-year-old kid that
Right.
dreamed to be here and just have that love and passion for the game come through.
Do you have a favorite catchphrase from one of the greats? Or a Mount Rushmore of catchphrases?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them, man. I mean, I said Kevin Harlan's, maybe my all-time favorite
Yeah.
announcer, and he's had so many. I grew up listening to Mike Gorman in Boston, and he had a catchphrase for every buzzer beater. It was "got it," and it was so simple. And so I don't try to overdo things. I try to be on the lesser side of talking because the pictures tell more of the story. Try to let our producer director work their magic. We have a great crew. I've slid into a crew where they've been here 30 years. This is Sean's 25th year announcing. His career
Wow.
announcing is longer than his playing career.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So we always
Wow.
give him crap like, man, you're an announcer first,
Yeah.
player second. You're a media guy.
Yeah.
And he's always rolling his eyes like, oh, that's true, But I try to give our crew a lot of credit and let them do their magic. So I punch the call, I'm in, I'm out, let them do their thing. But I'm a nerd. I could spend hours talking about announcers, so I'm
Oh.
not going to bore people with that. But
All right, we'll have to do another hour
yeah,
later with you.
yeah.
Appreciate you joining us.
This is awesome, man. Thank
Give
you.
it
I
up for
appreciate
Jacob,
it.
Really fun.
everyone. Spurs play-by-play announcer.
Thank you.
We want to thank Ledger for bringing us down here to Austin.
Yeah, shout out Ledger, man.
Yeah,
The jersey patch
this
of the
is
Spurs.
really cool. I
They have
know.
some great people. They have some great people that work for Ledger, and you get some great gear as well.
I know, absolutely. Thanks to Dan and Keith and their teams for helping put this together. Give it up for JD and Ash and DJ D Money over there.
D Money,
on
my
the
man,
ones and
D Money.
twos. And thank you to the Spurs, of course, and thanks to everybody for coming out here. We didn't know, we thought like 2 people were going to show up, and this is a nice little turnout on a Thursday morning. Hope everybody had your coffee, and chop it up with us after. Thank you again. Flipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thank you, Austin. And remember, Jacob Tobey's show tomorrow, 4 Seasons, right?
Yes, 5 to 7 at the Four Seasons Friday. Be there, be square.
Basketball games are good, but also
Do you want
this
to
performance-
sing us off here as we?
No, we'll save that for tomorrow.
Okay, all right. Embrace the day, people.